Okay, so we're just going to discuss a little bit more in depth of the top half guard. Okay, so again, we're just going to do this as a progression. So since we have the gi on, we're going to keep in the back of our minds that this is always good to have this open and looking to feed this around. Okay, you have really good control over here, and then control both sides. Okay, that's just going to be in the back of our minds. This next stuff is going to be pretty much gi or no gi. It's going to be same, and then we can do some slight variations with the gi. Okay, so when I'm looking to pass, if we're past the knee shield, we're assuming that we passed the knee shield. We discussed that a little bit. We'll do that another time as well. I'm always going to be looking for inside control here, inside head control, and control of this arm. This arm is a preference. A lot of people like double underhooks. I like an overhook because it allows me to switch from the cross face to the overhook, but it's preference. That's the only one that you can like kind of play around with. Otherwise, you're going for inside control and inside head control, where I'm controlling like under his chin, out of my head. Okay, so the first one is very simple. We're just gonna go the basic. He's coming out to his side. I beat him to the underhook. I drive my head into him. Okay, now I can control with the overhook or the underhook. I'm gonna choose the overhook. I'm gonna drive my weight into him here and keep his shoulders pinned. Okay, at this point, a lot of times people will keep their legs tight. Okay, so you have to form a straight line with this leg. I can hook in here and free my knee. Once my knee is free, I can drop it down, use a kicking action on either of these legs. This hand, I'm just using this to base because I'm doing it slowly. I'm just going to be controlling under the arm or double underhook. Okay? I come here after I've completed my pass, and I stay heavy. My hip stays locked to his hip, and I complete in this heavy position here. Now I want you to practice this control where I'm still heavy on this hip here. You can also walk back and control to start exposing the back this way. Okay, but practice that a little bit where you're going forward and back, all my pressure, hip locked to hip here. Next, if he starts to get under me a little bit, I'm gonna base out. This is why I like the overhook, because I can cross face here. I'm gonna base out, walk myself back a little bit, do the same thing as we just did. Underhook, inside head control, driving with the shoulders, underhook or overhook, whichever you prefer. Free the leg, free the foot, stay connected to the hip, practice hip control here. This position, and also walking back towards his hips and getting him to turn. Okay. If they go in a little bit deeper and he gets an underhook and throws me over, I really need to base out here. This hand bases out, this comes to an underhook. Okay? Now, depending on if I feel like he's starting to pull my legs over, I can lock my legs together in the back so that he can't pull my leg over his head here and start exposing me there. So I cross face, I base, lock my legs. Now I base with both of my hands. He's trying to pick me up to pull me up. So I walk myself back towards my hips and I settle. From here, go back to the same position as we just did. Swim under, inside control. I'm sorry, one thing I forgot to mention. As we're coming up here, as soon as I come back here, I need to drive into his face, like under his neck, with my shoulder and free my knee this way. Okay, that just kind of unfurls his arm enough so that I don't have to worry about him holding it over his head anymore. Then, I bring my head under inside control, and I can start working the same positions that we did in the first two. Okay. Another thing that happens, he gets me really deep, and I can't get in front of his head, and I can't get under here before I feel like I'm gonna be swept, right? So he's gonna bring me back over here. Okay, so I again base, I walk myself back just enough. I'm not gonna be able to cross face in this case because he has his head very deep, so that exposes the other side of his neck. I wrap this around. You can't just be lazy about this. This has to be wrapped tight, and the other side is gonna be sealed with my rib. Wrapped tight here, and now I have him in this sort of trap. I keep my base out here, and I'm gonna replace it by basing on my head. Now I'm gonna switch to this shoulder and to this hip. I have to keep his head trapped the whole time with my stomach. So this wraps around tight, I replace the base with my head. Now, when I replace the base, I can lock my hands and I can switch to my shoulder and my hip here, okay? A lot of times your head is gonna pop right here in between. You have to keep it locked with your belly. I also have to keep his leg trapped with my leg. If I let go with this leg, then I'm gonna have to transition. So I have to just keep this heel dug in under there, but it's very easy, okay? I have now pressure with my forearm under his chin or neck and down with my belly. So I'm gonna push down with my stomach and crank, and I do this twisting motion right here. It can be a choke or a crank. It's one of those sort of weird moves. It's definitely more of a crank, but you might be able to get away with it, depending on the rules, okay? So you just crank and twist a little bit. It's very tight. Okay. One final little sequence. We'll obviously add more to this, but one thing that I find happens a lot, and you can kind of recycle and go back through them all, is if you go through that same thing, he scoots me over, I'm here, I can't maybe get under here before I feel like I'm starting to lose it and switch over, okay? So I'm not gonna be able to switch back onto this hip. This arm is gonna become the crossface. I'm gonna switch my hips and trap his leg, okay? So I switch here, this becomes a crossface, and I base my hips out. Depending on what he's doing with his legs, if he's keeping them really tight and not letting me go, I can frame and get a knee in here and start wedging back this way. A lot of times, he's gonna release, plant, and try to explode on top, in which case, I take my leg out, I trap here, and I walk to this side control. You have to watch the triangle at this point, so I usually come up and throw a knee in or a knee in, complete the position from here. Okay. From this position, you obviously have your passes. You also have knee bars. And one thing that also happens is you come here, he keeps it really locked. If I'm having trouble keeping it out, I push, I don't get it fully freed, and I'm gonna switch. This knee is gonna come to this side, and this knee is gonna come across in this way. Once I have that, I separate, my arms come out, and I can leave the position. That's the basic sequence that I want to work today. We'll add to it. There's obviously more options that you can do, but this gives you a good run through of what we need.